Hello students, so we're continuing with the SQL practical program. So today I'll be showing you how to create a table from one of the solve exercise problems. So this is from the page number 3.70, question number 12. The table is student table. So now in the textbook you will see that all the SQL programs, the tables are already created and then the answers are already written. Now some of you may not know how to create a table. I've already shown you how to create a table and insert the values, but for every table, uh, how you create a table, it's a bit different, right? However, you use the uh, same data type. So now let me just show you how the table student is created, all right, and then how you insert the values, and based on that you can also create the other tables and then start inserting the values and perform the queries. So now I've already made the table in advance, okay, in order to save time. So here you can see that in the table student, if you see the textbook, there are 7 columns. So uh, what you should know is that the table name and the column name is not case sensitive, right? But however, um, if it is written in the questions that okay, the table is under uppercase alphabet and the column names is a mixture of uppercase and lowercase, or in lowercase, or it is in uppercase, so in that format, if the question is asked to create a table, you write down like that, right? So in here I've written all in lowercase. Another thing that you have to know is that in the column name, that under the first column, no number dot is written, right? Now do not use the dot. That if you use the dot, it will result in error, right? Because that column name is not recognized, right? So that means the rules apply such that you cannot use the dot, right? But you can use underscore. So only underscore is allowed to separate the column names. Suppose like roll underscore number, like that. So here the syntax we use is the ddl command, that is create table name, and then within the parenthesis we mention the column name, the data type, and the size. So as you can see that in the first column, the number values is digits, so we use the number data type. And then since it is only single digit values, so here you can write here 1 or you can write here 2, so I've used 2. Then the name, it contains character values, so that's why I'm using variable character, and the size I've given as 20. So suppose if I give the size as 10, and some students name might be more than 10 characters long, so in that case that will result in error. Then age is digits, so number data type is used. Department is also variable character. Date of admission, it has its own data type, date, so we use that. We can also use variable character, but since it has its own data type, so we use date. So in such case we don't need to give the size. Fees is number, and sex is variable character. Now in the case of sex, there is only a single character. We can use character data type also. For name also we can use character data type. For department also we can use character data type instead of variable character. But character is fixed length and variable character is varying length. So that means in the name, if suppose the first name is only 10 alphabets, then the remaining 10 alphabets memory space won't be used at all. In the case of character, since it's fixed length, if the first name is 10 characters and the size is 20, the remaining 10 character space will also be used up with zeros, right? So it will be filled up. So that is unnecessary wastage of memory space, right? So only when you know the exact size, then in the case of suppose like sex, we can use character, and then we can use character data type, and then we can give the size as 1 also, right? So I've already created this table, right? So as you can see that see, name is already used by an existing object, so we cannot use the same table name twice. Alright. Now after creating the table, the next step is to start inserting the values. So for that, so this is the command. All right, so we use the DML command. So insert into student. So here we do not use the word table. Insert into student, and here as you can see that I've mentioned here the column names. So always a good programming practice that when you start inserting the first value, you mention the column name, and then after that you use the values clause, and then you within another parenthesis you insert the values, data values. Now this first mentioning the column name is a good programming practice, because uh, how you enter the values, it based on this column. It should be number first, name second, age third, like that, right? Sometimes you might make mistake while entering the values, right? In such case it will lead to error, or it may not be accepted, error will be generated. So first time when you enter, you mention the column name. After that, the second time when you inserting the second values, all right, the second row data, then you don't need to mention the column name, but it is up to you, right? So here you can see that only the column name is mentioned. No data type, no size is mentioned here, because once you have created a table with the column name and the data type and the size, the compiler already knows what is the uh, data type of this column and what is the size affixed to this column. All right. So under the value section, you can see that the value number is digit, so 1. So it is not enclosed in single quote. Digit values are not enclosed in single quote, but since the name is Pankaj, so it contains characters, so that's why it is enclosed under single quotation. Then similarly, date also it will be enclosed under single quotation. Now one thing that you should know is that the date in the textbook, the date value is mentioned like this, 10/01/97. All right, but if you try to run this, it will result in error. So the date format will be written in this way, 10 slash, okay, jan 10 hyphen jan hyphen 97, or if you don't want to use hyphen, you can also use slash, like this, right? So it should follow in this format only, right? So likewise, you will insert all the values, all the 8 rows, right, one by one. Now in case while entering the value, if you miss out on one value, suppose like you forgot to mention this one, right? Or let's say that, okay, number 9, okay, say mm, say Rohit, and then age is 25, okay, department is computer, okay, let's just say 15 slash 10. Now if the date format is written like this, all right, then when you run it, you'll see that not a valid month, right? So you have to change that to in this format. Now let's say I miss out on one value. Suppose I forgot to write down the last value. In that case, when you run this, you will see that not enough values. So it shows the error that you have not inserted all the values, because there are 7 columns, right? So 7 columns, that means one column value is missing, right? So that will show you the error, and then you have to correct that error like this, right? So when you run this, 1 row inserted. So now if you have to view the table, you just say select star from student, semicolon, and then you run it. So now it shows you all the 9 rows. As you can see that uh, while creating the column name was not in uppercase, but you can see that here it is in uppercase. Only thing that that is case sensitive is the alphabets, the values that are entered, since the name is the first alphabet is capital letter or caps lock or capital letter, right? And the department also, the first alphabet is capital letter. So when you are searching for that particular value, if it does not match, if it is in lowercase, then you will not get the output value, right? So just an example, suppose like the first one is to show, the first query is to show all information about the students of history department, right? So what the question is asking, show all information. So all information, that means we have to use the star symbol, that is the asterisk, from the student table of history department, right? So of history department, so department should be from the history department. So show all the student details from the history department. So you should remember the column name. In that case, there is a condition attached to that, right? So when there is a condition attached to that, we have to use the where clause. So the where clause, and then which column? History department, right? So we have to mention the department equals to, and then since history, right? So we have to enclose it under single quotation. So now let's say that I write here history like this, right? And I run this. No data found, because here I've written the H in lowercase, right? So I have to use the uppercase. So here you can see that the students whose department is history details is displayed, right? So such small errors you should try to avoid, right? One thing you should remember is that case sensitivity is there in the data values where there are character values, right? Now likewise, the second query is to list the name of female students who are in Hindi department, right? So to list the names of female students who are in Hindi department. So here there are two conditions. First is we have to display the name column from the student table who are only female. All right, so we have two categories, that is male and female. So we have to display the name column from the student table who are only female students, at the same time from the Hindi department, right? So in the case of that, we should avoid the asterisk symbol, and then we have to write down the name column, select name from student where department equals to, okay, where department equals to Hindi and sex equals to KF. So if I write down here, see, invalid identifier, because now this value F is under when we inserted the values, this character value, so it should be enclosed under single quotation, right? Again, if we run this, it will again no data found, because now this F was written in uppercase, right? So we have to write down this in uppercase. So now it shows you the only the female student who is in Hindi department, at the same time the sex is female. Now if suppose like you want to confirm that whether is she really from the Hindi department, right? Then here you mention the department, and then let's say mention the sex also. so you can confirm it here from there that okay, department is indeed a sex is female, right? So likewise, the other queries also you perform in the same manner, right? And in the query question number G, that is give the output of the following SQL statement. So there the query is given, you just have to, looking at the table, you have to determine what the output is. All right, now in practical exam, by writing down the query, you will be able to get the answer. But in a theoretical exam, just by looking at the query, you have to be able to determine what will be the output. All right, so for that you have to understand the query, right? So only when you understand the query, you'll be able to get the correct output, right? And in the case of the SQL, daily practice is needed for that, right? So that you will not forget the query and the keywords, the clause associated with that, right? So likewise, students, you perform the rest of the queries and also practice on the other tables also. Okay.